I want to buy a copy of Bone Storm. Here's 99 cents.
Allow me to summarize the proposed transaction. You wish to purchase Bone Storm for 99 cents. Net profit to me, negative $59. Oh, please take my $59. I don't want it. It's yours.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. If you're a fan of Aaron Sparrow, you're going to love the channel, at least for the next 5 or 6 days. We got multiple segments with Aaron Sparrow. This will be the first one talking about comic books, but we're going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to talk about James Bond. We're going to talk about toys, all within the next few days here. How you doing, Aaron Sparrow? Fresh off the big announcement, you're the one of the writers for season 4 of Young Justice.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm always really flattered whenever anybody in the chat is or in the comments is like, I love when Aaron Sparrow's on, because we always get off of doing a recording, and then my insecurity comes in. And I'm like, Wes, was that good? Did I sound like an idiot? What?
You've messaged me multiple times. You're like, you're going to need to edit that. I sounded completely stupid. I was like, I don't know, man. That sounded good to me. I'm going to listen to it back. But whenever people give you compliments without also paying me a compliment, I don't like it, though. I think
that's fair. Yeah, nobody's like, hey, I love when Aaron's on the channel. Wes, you're pretty good too.
Yeah, if they can't throw the obligatory in, Wes is okay too, then I feel slighted.
Well, I mean, they came here, for you, obviously. It's not my channel; it's your channel. So.
Well, there's a reason I throw your little logo up on the thumbnail so people know it's an Aaron Sparrow video. Get more people it.
I never thought about that, but I guess maybe
I call it the cult of Sparrow. And you are the high Sparrow, sir, as you're shaming everybody.
Well, I'm a big
especially
CM
with
Punk
your
fan,
big news, man. Young Justice, that's awesome.
Being a big CM Punk fan, I would like to be, I would like to make every entrance to Cult of Personality. So,
absolutely. So, if people don't know this, you are a writer. A screen. You're writing animated television for HBO Max, obviously with Young Justice. You're a comic book writer. You've also adapted manga to the American audience. You've edited big name projects in the past before, but you're also you work within the comic industry in another route. You also do ordering. Is it for 3 different shops in your area in California?
Yeah, 3 different shops throughout California, from Southern California down to San Diego.
Very cool. And we know that every market's different. You could have 2 comic shops in the same city, and the demographics, depending on where they are in the city, and what relationship they are to the customers. You might have one that's more, where it's hotter for trades, one that's more into big 2 periodics, maybe one that's more into indie and stuff. So every shop's a little bit different. I imagine you know that better than I, considering that you're ordering for 3 different shops.
Yeah, it is. They're all different demographics, and the orders depend kind of like on what people are interested in. But universally across the 3 shops, what I've seen in the last year to 2 years is that the big 2 continue to shrink in interest. Indie comics are doing better than ever. At least since I've been ordering, I've seen orders increase on some Image titles, some IDW, some of the Boom definitely. They're doing really well. But we're seeing people like walk away from characters that they've collected for a long, long time, and it's gotten to the point where at one of the shops we have just ceased carrying comics altogether. So now I'm only going to be ordering comics for 2 shops. I'll still be ordering other product for the 3rd shop, but one shop is just done. They're getting out of comics. It's not viable. It's not feasible to devote the space to them anymore. There's other product that moves better, be it action figures to Funko Pops. You could put something else in that section, and that square footage will generate a lot more money for you. The money is just not there. Comics have gotten too expensive. The discounts are not good enough, and especially when you're offering pull customers a percentage off, you're really not making any money. So it's just not worth carrying them anymore.
So typically, pull customers in a lot of shops that I've talked to, they get like a 35% discount. But with the changes that we've seen within the comic book industry, obviously, Diamond no longer has a monopoly. So if you want to order DC Comics, which would be roughly about 35% of all your comic orders pre-pandemic, we don't know the exact percentage anymore because Lunar doesn't report the numbers. But essentially a third of your comic book orders would have went away. So you get less discounts from Diamond to begin with. And now we're moving over to Penguin Random House to be the distributor for Marvel, which is about 40, right? I think it's about around 40% of all comic books will be Marvel. So you're going to get even less discounts because you're going to be paying for comics from 3 different places. And you're right. The margins, which were already narrowly thin, are just basically evaporated for some shops.
And you couple that with the fact that over the last year, we've seen our DC books drop from about 35% of our orders to less than 10%. DC has really fell off at the shop for us, to the point that the only thing that was really worth ordering was Batman. Bendis killed Superman. The sales on that just tanked. And there's nothing else that we could really move. Suicide Squad couldn't move it. No matter what new thing they were doing, we couldn't move it. And the more changes they make to existing characters, the more books people would drop, to the point that our discount with Lunar was getting so low that there's some weeks where it's like, you didn't order enough for us to ship this to you. So your books are going to have to wait till your next order to see if that reaches the total to get them shipped. So you're not even getting the books on time. So at that point, it's just time to cut bait and say, we're not carrying this anymore. Obviously, it's just you're throwing good money after bad.
That's crazy. So obviously, every comic shop is different. I do talk to Larry from Larry's Comics, behind the scenes and on Twitter and stuff. He's always lauding DC's line. I personally don't see it. There are a couple of solid titles there that I like, but even the Batman title from James Tynion, I think sucks. It's so slow. I don't really enjoy reading it. But he's like, hey, DC's better than ever. I was like, you're seeing something I ain't, but obviously he's seeing sales that you aren't either, as someone that's ordering for a shop.
And it that kind of shows you the demographics too. It's, for us, it's, and this is a Southern California store. This is, people that are very interested in pop culture. There's a lot of pop culture shops out here. We've got the Frankenstein show that I'm at twice a week. It's, basically a comic convention 3 days a week, open Wednesdays, Saturdays, Sundays, that gets a ton of people coming down. There's a couple of comic vendors in there, maybe 2 or 3, but everybody else is buying collectibles. They're buying anime statues. They're buying action figures. They're buying Funko Pops. That's where people have decided to put their money. For the cost of like one Batman comic now, you can pretty much get a Funko Pop to put on your desk if that's your thing. Or for 3 comics, you can buy, really nice. Hey, you like Daredevil? You can buy a really nice Daredevil action figure that Hasbro's putting out, and it doesn't come with any politics of the writer. It's just a representation of the character that you love. And, you can do whatever you want with it. You can project your own imagination onto it. And that seems to be where people are moving. So that's where we're going to move as a shop.
It's crazy. So I'm hearing the story that you're giving me from multiple comic shops. I had another a shop. I think the viewer's name is Funny Business. They said, hey, we stopped doing DC comics like 15 months ago. Nobody noticed. I've had other comic retailers report things similar to you. Obviously Larry has a different story. And what I've noticed is, and DC's kind of decided to go into Marvel's bag of tricks, as it appears maybe the readership is shrinking, is they have gone into the ratio variant game, where, if you got a Batman comic, you should have your A cover and you'd have your B cover. Unless it was Detective Comics 1000 or something like that. Or maybe, Batman 50, which was supposed to be the wedding, or maybe Batman 100, these milestone issues, you would have multiple covers. But everything else, you had A and B. That is not the case anymore. On a lot of DC comics, you have all these ratio variants, 1 in 10, 1 in 25, 1 in 50 type ratio variants. So where you have to sell the same comic book to the customer multiple times just to make up for the customers that have walked out, or what I call gimmicked sales. They're not actual sales of real comics. Those are gimmick sales to speculators or collectors that have to have a complete run that end up buying 5 to 6 copies of the exact same comic book so they can have their complete Batman run.
And there's not that many of those customers either anymore. So many people realize that they're being squeezed and have walked away. Or during, the COVID lockdowns when Diamond shut down, it broke their habit. They weren't going to the comic shop every week. And then they kind of looked at what they were spending and they said, what am I doing? And so it really broke that collector habit and the completist mentality. And if you've got a completist mentality, there's all kinds of other things that you could put your money into that are easier to obtain, that you don't have to, go broke for, this, what essentially is just a pamphlet, now with these books. $6 for a Batman comic, no thanks. No, people don't want it. It's the value isn't there. And, Joshua Williamson's coming on the book. His Flash book, it's not my cup of tea, but sales wise for us anyway, it hasn't done anything. So I don't know that that's going to give Batman any kind of bump. And especially with the news that like they might be handing Batman to Bendis, it's the perfect time to get out. It's a good time to tap out.
I still say Balderdash on that Bendis rumor. There's no way that anyone could be stupid enough to give Bendis a title that important at this point. Tom King already sunk the sales to like almost an all-time low. They wouldn't want to chance it, right?
You wouldn't think so, but I've seen a lot of dumb decisions out of DC lately, you know, and I don't have any faith in their leadership, and it's been a long time coming. You know, there's so many things that like you just look at what's on the table. Like, you know, take Young Justice. It's a cartoon that hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have seen. It's got a huge fan base, and instead of doing a monthly Young Justice comic to tie into it, what do? They hand a Young Justice book to Brian Michael Bendis, and it gets canceled for low sales. You could be promoting these things that tie into these other initiatives within the company, within Warner Brothers, you know, these big HBO Max projects and things like that you could maybe be driving people towards. And as a company, I know that like comics are not a priority, but you could at least throw a couple of ads into these HBO Max series or you know, these movies when they do like an animated movie, like, hey, you know, did you like the animated movie? Get the trade. You know, the trade's available now. You know, and try and direct
with Suicide
people
Squad,
back.
if you went to the IMAX screening of it, you did get King Shark Suicide Squad special, like a special copy of it.
Yeah, and you know, most people may
It's
not
doing
seek
something.
out, yeah, and most people won't seek out, you know, a comic book store to get future issues, but you might pick up, if you picked up 10,000 people, that's, you know, a market difference in your bottom line. Why would you not want to do that?
So obviously we picked on DC here a little bit, but you said that store just cut out all comics, right, including Marvel?
Yeah, we're not going to be doing Marvel. I'm so tired of Marvel's schemes. You know, when you've got a book, and I know there's the one guy who's like, I'm looking forward to Kazar, who's going to be upset with me. But, you know, when you've got a book like Kazar, who is a D-list character at best, and you're putting out like 10 covers for that number one, you are just extorting stores at this point, and you're just extorting the last fans that you have left. And, you know, there are some hardcore that are still going to put up with it, but more and more people are just saying, I'm done with this. And that's what we were seeing at the customer level. People just saying, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is not pleasing me. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the quality of the books. I'm not happy with the amount of covers that they expect me to buy to complete my run. And if I can't have everything, what am I even doing? I'm out.
Yeah, it's crazy. You have Eternals, which didn't sell under like Jack Kirby or Neil Gaiman, and they had like 42 variant covers for that launch. Like,
because the movie's coming out and they think, but like, there's no buzz for this movie. It might do okay, you know, it might not, but there's like zero buzz for it. I don't know, like but they thought that was, you know, people are going to be like, oh, I need to get all the covers for that new movie. People who are going to see the movies aren't coming in and jumping in on all the comics and thinking that, you know, I need to get every cover. That's just not the way that it works. Nobody cares about the Eternals. Kevin Feige said that no one cared about the Eternals, and that's why they decided to do it, because they could race and gender swap characters around and people wouldn't be upset.
They moved to the front of the line because they could take liberties with the characters and no one would care. Literally, it's so important.
No one really does.
Nah, no one cares one way or the other. It's like, whatever. It's the Eternals. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to do something I actually care about for me to get an emotional reaction.
Someone asked me they said, hey, you buy like all the Marvel Legends stuff and you even get the movie stuff, you know, generally for like the build of figures. You know, even if I'm like, I don't really care about those movie figures because I'm more invested in the comic book figures, even though I like a lot of the Marvel movies. But, you know, I'll buy the whole line because I want to build Mr. Hyde. Like I bought the Shang-Chi line because I wanted to build Mr. Hyde. And the Eternals line's coming out, and it's all movie characters, and you build a movie character. And so I don't really feel like I need it. And I might get them when they go super deep clearance, just because having those different actor heads, I like to put different actor heads on like S.H.I.E.L.D. agent bodies and things like that. So you have like kind of a diverse group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. But as far as like the characters themselves, I don't care. I don't care to have them in my collection. You know, they're more interesting as custom fodder for me than they are as the characters themselves.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. You know, it's sad. I know that obviously, you know, you went out there and you spent a lot of your own blood, sweat, and tears to get yourself into the comic book industry as an editor. You know, obviously getting hired at Tokyo Pop, you know, getting your foot in the door, getting a really big break, which you probably weren't ready for the amount of responsibility you got with Boom Kids, but you were essentially responsible. You're the only editor, I think, for the entire Disney line while you were there, and probably worked too many hours doing all these things. And to see it just kind of, obviously it's going to get better, but it sucks when it's down like this.
It's sad. I don't know what the future of the industry is. I think that the direct market is not salvageable at this point. I think you're going to see, like many people have been predicting, moving to a more European model of graphic novels and trades. And maybe that's for the best, because floppies have basically priced themselves out of the market. They
don't write floppies anyway. If you go read a James Tynion comic book, that's not a periodic comic. He got a lot of. He got 20% of a comic book.
He got a lot of credit from me coming on to Batman at the beginning, and I think that maybe it was the rose-colored glasses of, it's not Tom King.
It's not Tom King.
Yes, but over time I developed the same feeling about it that you did. That it's so decompressed, and you're not getting a complete story. You're not getting anything that's really interesting within a single issue that you've paid $5 for, and that's really disheartening, and it just makes people walk away. And so many people have walked away that I just don't know that they can get them back. And so what they're doing is they're living on borrowed time with all of these variant cover schemes and just trying to squeeze as much money as they can out of the last 20,000 people that are holding on.
Well, in the case of DC, over 50% of their line in November and December, as far as their solicitations, if they aren't led by Batman, it's Batman as part of a team or a Batman family character leading the damn comic book. Like, that's over 50%. That's quite a lot. You go over there to Marvel, you look at what they're doing in December. You're getting 5 issues of Amazing Spider-Man in December. That is too much.
And who's writing Amazing Spider-Man now that Spencer's gone? Spencer had a competent run that people were, if they didn't love, they at least liked. But who are we getting in
the Beyond board? It's going to be Zeb Wells, Kelly Thompson, Saladin Ahmed, Cody Ziegler, and Patrick Gleason. I think that's them.
Zeb Wells might do a good job.
I believe supposedly he's in charge. I imagine Patrick Gleason will do a good job as well.
I couldn't sell a book with Saladin Ahmed's name on it. Had a lot of trouble with Kelly Thompson titles. Now, I don't know if that's because of Kelly Thompson's writing or if that's just because of the titles that they put Kelly Thompson on. Obviously, we didn't order West Coast Avengers because we had no pulls for it, so I didn't even order any shelf copies. And Captain Marvel had long since stopped selling it at any of the shops. So, that was another one.
You got the issue 35. It's a record.
But did sales justify that? Like, and you have to ask yourself too, like, what are these people making on these books that keep them alive? Like, is Kelly Thompson getting a decent writing, rate on Captain Marvel, or is the rate for the art and the writing so low that even, the book can sink to 20,000 copies, 15,000 copies, and still remain viable for Marvel to publish? Or is it like Miss Marvel, where the sales are kind of terrible, but because of who the character is and who's behind the creation of the character, that they just take a loss on it?
It's crazy. So issue number 30 of Captain Marvel is 33,000 issues. Better than I anticipated. Better than Captain America.
Wow. How many variant covers is that to get to that?
Oh, I have no idea. That's not in Comic Crowd.
Better than Captain America. I mean, Kelly Thompson's a better writer than Ta-Nehisi Coates, so
Barely.
So she deserves to be at a higher level than Captain America.
My assumption is that anyone that's like a Marvel exclusive writer is being paid in peanuts and maybe sardines. And that's why they're Marvel exclusives, so they could just run them into the ground for nothing.
You would have to be if you're only selling 33,000 copies. Like, what is Marvel? What's their take of that? Is it $1 on a $4 book? Because it used to be that it would go to Diamond, and the retailer would pay $2 for it.
Mm-hmm.
So what was Diamond making?
Diamond would take half, and then
so Marvel on that book is making $33,000. Most comic books in the past cost a good $6,000 to $10,000 to produce from start to finish. Paying the talent.
Figure she got paid $100 a page, that would be $24,000 right there. So she definitely getting $100 a page, and neither is the art team.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. $100 a page, so she'd be making 2,400, or well, no, what are they? 20 issues, so she'd be making $2,000 on that book. The art team probably would be doing better. You'd maybe be paying them $150 a page, which is really abysmally low for a big 2 book, but that's probably where it's coming in. But that's another $2,500 that maybe you're paying out. Yeah, I mean, wow. Wow.
It's not a lot of money to be made there. And like I said, it's unfortunate. I don't root for the comic industry to do poorly. I want things to get better. Personally. I want your shop that you decided to no longer do new comic orders for. I want them to have to come back and be like, we need to open up our account again and start getting new comics in here. The demand is so high that we have to meet it. You know what I mean?
I would love that. I mean, obviously, I don't root for comics to fail. I want comics to be good. I want them to be well written. I want them to be exciting tales of heroism that people enjoy. I want them to be timeless classics that stand the test of time over the years. But that's not what the industry has decided to give us. They've decided to give us poorly thrown together propaganda pieces where you're lectured to by somebody who just got out of college and doesn't have any life experience. That's what the majority of these books are. They want to tear down the characters because they're of whatever political reason, and reframe them in their own ideology. And even the old guys like Tom Brevoort who are there are like applauding it and pushing forward with it. So guys who worked at Marvel when the company was in good shape and was selling books, but this is the direction that they've decided to go for whatever reason. And it's not we talked about Star Wars in the last video. In the words of Padme, they're going down a path I can't follow.
Well, Aaron, I do want to say thank you very much, kind of giving an update on everything that's going on, at least within ordering at your shops and the trends that you're seeing. And I definitely want to say one more time, congratulations on the Young Justice gig. Season 4 sounds like it's going to be hot on HBO Max, and hope to see, hopefully you'll have more great announcements in the future.
I hope so. That'd be fun. I don't need to do this, but I enjoy doing it, and I think that I'm good at what I do. So I hope that I get to bring some more fun stuff to people that they enjoy.